Good afternoon. I'm student meteorologist Colby Pope, and unfortunately, we have an unprecedented event taking place right now on the panhandle of Florida, the third strongest landfall in United States history, occurring right now near Tyndall Air Force Base. It is Hurricane Michael, 155 mile per hour winds, just shy of Category 5 strength, moving at northeast at 14 miles per hour. Pressure dropping to 919 millibars. Again, landfall taking in progress right now, has just occurred there at Tyndall Air Force Base. They had wind gusts of 129 miles per hour, and those gusts continued. They were consistent over a 20-minute period, and then we have not since heard from that station there at Tyndall Air Force Base. Let me get something with the graphics. I want to bring up some more points about what's going on right now. And let's take a look at this satellite and radar that we're dealing with. The landfall process is in progress and has been completed. This is just off to the east of Panama City. There, it's right over Mexico Beach, Tyndall Air Force Base, continuing to continue off to the north and to the east. We've dealt with some feeder bands here closer to Tallahassee. Notice the convection around the eye. Notice the lightning strikes. It is a very mature storm as it continues. Even as it goes on to land, it will start to degrade somewhat and start to weaken, but that process is going to take several hours. These bands I'm concerned about that are just off to the west of Tallahassee, and they'll continue to spiral up and move closer into Leon County. Those are the ones that we're going to really worry about the power grid here locally. Further portions to the west, definitely around the Mariana area, they are very concerned because of this extreme wind warning. These are winds that will be moving into portions of Bay and then also into Calhoun County as well. Winds in excess of 115 miles per hour, possibly up to 130, especially closer to the coast and where that eye wall is on the northeastern side of that eye wall as it continues progressing off to the north and east. Widening out that picture, we are very concerned about these also spiral rain bands, the tornado watch all across the eastern panhandle and then also into portions of southwestern Georgia. So spiral rain bands can kick up those quick spin up brief tornadoes. Still definitely a danger with this storm. And the time lapse in Panama City, we did have some winds gusting 119, I believe it was there at the FSU Panama City, well over 100. And you can see there at 156, we don't have the stream anymore. We can't see. We usually are looking back out over the Gulf of Mexico, and that's just not there because of those strong winds. And then St. George Island, same thing, 9:40 a.m. You can start to see the water there in the very bottom of the picture. Notice the white caps, very strong white caps with the wind, and then also notice the water level rises a little bit as we had that storm surge push in. The white caps happen, and then by about 2 o'clock, again, almost like Panama City, it's very hard to see out over the Gulf of Mexico with those winds coming in as the landfall process was happening. Closer to home, though, looking out over Doak Campbell Stadium, a very bleak sight as we look out over Doak Campbell. We continued through some of the rain bands that were moving onshore. Look at all the rain there on the time lapse, and we'll start to deal with that as conditions will deteriorate here in Leon County over the next several hours. There's the progression. We have the landfall there right near Panama City and Tyndall Air Force Base, continuing a Category 2 still in southwestern Georgia. That is a really big concern there. We're talking about 100 mile per hour winds in places like Bainbridge and then over toward Thomasville. Definitely an area of concern there on the Highway 84 corridor in extreme southwestern Georgia. Also 27, Highway 27, if you're heading up toward Colquitt, that's going to be an area of concern too. Blakely, Colquitt, those are communities you're not used to seeing 80 to 100 mile per hour winds. Those won't be gusts, folks. Those will be consistent winds. So we're talking for periods of 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's not like a severe storm where we get a couple of gusts. We're talking those what were usually associated with severe thunderstorm warnings where it's just, a couple of gusts, a few seconds. These will be a matter of minutes. That is of dire concern for locations in southwestern Georgia, and then continuing off in toward Augusta and then also into the Piedmont of South Carolina. The expanse of the warnings with this is incredible. The hurricane warnings extend all the way into Georgia, just south of Macon. That's Cordell and then toward Tifton. And they just continue to expand into the north and to the east. Tropical storm warnings continue. Most of South Carolina, they're in the tropical storm warning, so 95 and then all the way up into North Carolina. These are places that definitely don't need any more rain. They just had dealt with Florence and a very concern there. look at South Carolina, almost covered there completely in blue. So the 95 corridor from north of Jacksonville all the way up into toward the Orangeburg area, concern there, and then even 20 from Columbia back through Augusta, even heading toward Atlanta. You definitely want to watch out there. So you're far inland, but you're still seeing ramifications as Michael continues its track off to the north and east. Close to home, though, for the next 24 hours. About 6 o'clock is when we're going to start to see the strongest winds from Hurricane Michael as it continues. You look at the bands there. Wow, look at the magenta there near Bainbridge. That's really strong precipitation. We'll start to see winds, and I would say we could push hurricane strength for gusts, definitely here in Leon County, and especially places off to the west. Place like Bainbridge and Blakely that I was mentioning earlier, they'll definitely see possibility of hurricane force winds in those locations. Anywhere off to the north and also to the west of Tallahassee of dire concern for those really strong winds. But here we're definitely going to see those fair share of tropical storm force winds to possibly hurricane strength. We'll have to watch that there. Very strong. Clearing out though by about 10 o'clock. We'll still see some showers in our area, and then clearing out though mostly on the coast. That'll be good for them. And then as we go into your Thursday, things really start to clear out, and that system will continue off to the north and to the east. There's your track, the landfall in progress, your timeline of events. Tallahassee, those conditions will deteriorate. We're in a shelter in place here at Florida State, so it is not the time to get out and about, try to get around. You want to stay sheltered in place, Leon County. This is not over. Even though it's made landfall, this event is far from over. Several-hour event that we're going to have to deal with here in the Tallahassee area. And then by Thursday, those conditions will improve. And as we see fit, we'll be able to continue to give you updates as we, hopefully the power will stay on. And if it does stay on here at Florida State, here in our studio, we will continue to give you updates. We want to keep you safe. I'm student meteorologist Colby Pope from the FSU Weather Studios. Stay alert.